All right, we are live. Good afternoon, good morning to some, depending on what coast you are tuning in from. I'm Dr. Maiysha here, and I am here with my colleague,
Yes.
yes, Dr. Andree LeRoy, and we are talking about sourcing our abundance. And I want to really start, I mean, just by introducing you, Doc, because we've been working together for some time, and we there's so much synchronicity that we have. And we wanted to do this topic because there's so many people who set goals, and sometimes we set goals and we achieve them, and sometimes we set goals and we don't achieve them, but there is something that some people we don't always know that could be getting in the way.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
And
So anyway, introduce yourself and let's get into it. Let's get right into it.
so my name is Dr. Andree LeRoy. I am a Harvard trained medical doctor and medical intuitive. And I help people optimize their health on the spiritual, emotional, and physical levels so they can really thrive and live their dreams.
Yes, yes. And those of you who know me know that not only am I a family physician, integrative family physician, I have since sort of retired, and I teach people about the connection with the mind, the mind body connection, the conscious and unconscious integration, and how we use that, our language, spoken and unspoken, and verbal and nonverbal, to really have ourselves be our best selves, produce the highest results in our lives, and really be able to eliminate unconscious influences and barriers that could be holding us back and keeping us in the trauma cycle. So, with that, let's talk about this whole idea. We're talking about intention driving our success. And there's this whole idea of the difference between intention and goal.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. And so, what are intentions? Because sometimes we think they're the same exact thing as a goal. But I think the big thing that distinguishes them from a goal is something really logical, really measurable, really specific. There's a timing to it. I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. I want to uh, I want to find my life partner
Mhm.
and be in a serious relationship within 6 months. I want to earn double my income in the next year. Intentions are actually different in their how you want to show up
Mhm.
while you are getting to your goal.
Mhm.
And some of us can sometimes throw that part out the window, or we don't even think about that part. But how you show up in the process is just as, if not more important than realizing the goal in and of itself.
Yeah, that's so key. Like in our goals, we talk about, the SMART goals, right? The specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and toward and in time. And that's very specific. Like it's very chunked down. But when you start to chunk up and like really get the big picture, the for what purpose? The for what purpose is the intention. And I think it drives everything they're about. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, I want to, even coming to work today, I want to show up in my fullest of service to others. I want to show up in my joy. I want to gracefully get through this task. So that's my intention.
Mhm.
And what I know about intentions is if we focus on them whenever we get distracted, then our attention then gets directed towards our intention.
Right.
And if I could show up in that feeling of, as I'm going through the process, it just makes the whole thing so much smoother, so much graceful, with so much more flow.
Yeah. And another way that I'm thinking about it is the goals are the doing and
Yes.
the intention is the being. And the being makes the biggest difference in the doing, right? Because you could be, like I've heard my mentors say in the past, we're human doings, right? We could be doing, and we could even lose sight of the original vision or intention. And what it does is it has us sort of go off to the left with our goals. And so it's important to be able to really distinguish the two, but to be able to distinguish what you're doing or being or who you're being in the process. Right. So for example, and I like to like bring it to the court. So let's say, for example, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a goal, and here's the thing, goals are great. We need to have goals because they take us in a direction, right? When you set a goal, you actually insert into your future something new, right? You put something in your future, and then you create the structure in order to get there. And then there's how you go about being during that process. So let's say you want to make a certain amount of money by the end of the year. Let's say like we're just beginning the fourth quarter. So let's say you want to make $100,000 by the end of the year in the fourth quarter. And you have that goal, and maybe you have some structures in place.
Yeah.
But if you're going about that with, and this is key because this is the difference. This can make the difference between what you achieve and what you don't. If you go about this with the mindset of, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get this goal, or I don't know if anybody's going to pay me, or if you have all these competing beliefs, these limiting beliefs. And I know, Doc, you say it a different way, right? Competing. Did you say competing? How do you say it?
Competing intentions. It's
competing
like,
intentions. Yes,
yeah.
I love the way you phrase it and frame it. If you have these limiting beliefs, if you have incongruence, right? You set the goal, but there's incongruence, meaning your insides don't match your outsides. Then what'll happen is that goal will not be achieved. You'll be less likely to achieve that goal. You'll fall very, very short. Now, there's nothing wrong with falling short of a goal, but you got to understand why that happens, right? So the difference a lot of times between the goals that we achieve, and there's a lot of them, but this is one big one, between the goals that you achieve and the goals that you don't, is the congruence or the beliefs or the competing intentions that come along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add, another thing that could happen is you may realize the goal, but you've burned so many bridges in the process because you haven't really been focused on your intention. You've been so focused on the doing that you completely omit the being. And in doing so, you lose touch with your truth, your integrity. So this is why both need to be aligned, the goal with the intention and the intention with the goal. So I really love the way you put that, and in just thinking about, well, how would I do this? How might I set an intention? What would that look like? What would it be like to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's one thing I want to add to what you said, you made me think about, is that, sometimes we set these goals thinking that our intention is one thing, thinking that at the surface level, we want one thing. And really, there's an even bigger picture intention that we're not aware of. So, for example, what I want to be in a relationship. And you're wondering, why opportunities show up and things don't work out. It could be, what if there's a higher intention? What if there's a competing intention of, or a higher intention of, I just want to be connected to someone? Well, do you have to be in an intimate romantic relationship to be connected? Right? Or, what if, and I know I've experienced this, right? Where there's a goal, but the goal is from an external expectation that you take on as an intention, right? Maybe everybody else is putting pressure on you to be in a relationship and you're just fine exactly where you are. But you push on with this intention, this goal, not honoring the real intention, which is your own, being with yourself, being okay, being in your own highest well-being, whether it's with someone or without. And that can also cause, that could also cause issue.
Yes, yes. And if you think about, I just love to think about it medically, because I know we talk about in medicine the definition of intention when it comes to wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember being on my surgical rotations and they would say, how is it healing? Is it healing by primary or secondary intention? What does that mean? So in medicine, when we define an intention, it is the way in which a wound heals itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty powerful and metaphorical that they chose that word to use to describe wound healing. And so for us, are there areas in our lives that we are wanting to heal, we are wanting to grow, we are wanting to expand in? And the gateway to doing that is through an intention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that because it speaks to what happens when the wound is not healed.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to discover when you start to dig into intention where there is healing that needs to occur. And people think this is just in their personal life, but I say how you do anything is how you do everything. So how you be in your personal life is going to show up with how you be at work as a leader. What intentions are you setting with your teams or with your career goals or in your leadership that are not being fulfilled because maybe of a limiting decision or an incongruence or a wound that's not healed that's impacting your leadership right at work, right? Where are you missing an intention with your team or your employees or your committees because there are wounds among the team,
Yeah,
miscommunications, unspoken withheld communications inside of the work community that doesn't allow the intention of the community to be met, right? So we can really pan this out from the one-on-one to the group, to the team, to the organization. When you have a failure to perform or a failure to meet a goal, you want to look at, well, what is the intention that didn't get met or that wasn't even set, right? What is
absolutely.
that intention? And then where's the breakdown? Where were the incongruences, the competing intentions, the limiting beliefs, decisions,
Mm,
all of those things that may have gotten in the way of the bigger intention being expressed to meet the goal.
absolutely. And so I would love to just give, if I could, offer a few tips on
Mhm.
how to set an intention.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I like to think about as we're getting
Mhm.
some traffic and movement and flow coming through here,
Yeah.
the I am. What is the I
Mhm.
am? What is she talking about? The I am. I am is one of the most powerful things that you can say,
Mhm.
whether you're a spiritual person or more of a scientific or logical person. When I say I am, it actually brings me forward. And
Mhm.
it's an active way of really speaking something, like using your words powerfully. So if
Mhm.
I can say, for example, I am showing up in my fullness and joy.
Mhm.
I am easily completing my tasks with
Mhm.
grace.
Mhm.
I am wholeheartedly diving into this project that I have to do.
Mhm.
So, all of those are just examples of the how and the how you want to be with yourself, how you want to be as you're going through the process,
Mhm.
and just watch, wait, and see what could happen.
Yeah. And to sort of um, add to that, when we look at it, even from if you're an employer, if you're a business owner and you employ a team, we are,
Hmm.
right? That's the plural of the I am, is the we are. And at the beginning of any meeting, you can set the intention. What are we today? Who are we going to be today about this? Right? You could set the intention for yourself, you can set the intention with the group. So there's the we are.
Yes, and I actually have a daily text thread that I've been doing with some women since 2016,
Mm-hmm.
where we each share our intention for the day.
Yeah.
The nice thing about that is creating an intention for your day. You can look at it throughout the day or you can reflect upon it. And when you deviate, you can remember to like bring yourself back on track.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What I used to do with my team um, is, when we would meet weekly when I was in my private practice. Now my team, we meet more like monthly, but I still do it with the team, right? We start out with, what's your intention for today? Right. And another thing that I would do is what are you grateful for today? It kind of sets the tone of the meeting. That's actually kind of another way that intentions show up is in gratitude, the expression of like I am grateful,
mhm.
right? I am grateful for, and then the intention can actually show up right inside of that statement. And
Yeah.
so that's something you can bring to the household, whether you're the head of the household or your family sitting around the table, right? You're starting a meeting, you're doing it for yourself in the journal. I definitely do it in the journal, set the intention for the morning, right? Do it with your kids.
Yes. And the other thing is I like to center myself before I do it.
Hmm.
So if you have an important meeting coming up, if you have an important decision to make, it's like,
Hmm.
it's that, we often focus on the outcome, the decision itself, but it's like, how do I want to show up? I want to peacefully come to this decision. I
Hmm.
want to, I want to experience harmony in this,
Hmm.
like, even though it's a challenging conversation, I
Hmm.
want to experience whatever harmony I can.
Yeah.
Um, so centering yourself, asking the I am or the we are. And the third thing I would say is use lots of adjectives:
Mm.
blissfully, joyfully, abundantly.
Hmm.
These are ways of like just really bringing forward in an active way all of these things that we're wanting to cultivate both within ourselves and in our outside reality
Yeah.
and day-to-day life.
I think that's so great because sometimes especially in our work environment. I know that in life in general it can be this way, but especially in our work environment, I think that sometimes our language can be so sterile. Noun, verb, noun. I mean, if we're going to go grammar on them, right? Noun, verb, noun, maybe an adverb here and there, right, to describe the verb. But adjectives bring color to life, bring color to work, bring color to experience. And, it's important to honor experience in the work that we're doing. Because I think in the end of the day, when we begin to honor the experience with adjectives and color them a bit with adjectives, that it brings a different kind of life and it could potentially bring life to the team. And I'm all about language, right? That's my jam, and how we bring different state and different results through language. And sometimes it's the use of adjectives, and you can do that in intention.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yeah. So we have an invitation for those who are listening live and those who will listen on the replay is to set your intention. Post your intention in the comments. We want to know. We want to know, what you got from this in terms of intention. How will you apply it? Not just personally in your goals, but in the people who are around you, in your family, in your organization, in your teams, in your work, in your relationships. How can you see bringing intention, setting intention, and bringing intention to your goals in a different way?
Absolutely. And I'll post mine as well.
And as will I, as will I. Good. Well, this has been a wonderful little nugget, little conversation. And I think in a couple of weeks, we're going to be back and we're going to be talking about taking a different kind of inventory, a different kind of inventory than what you're normally and usually used to taking. So we'll save it for the next time. And I'll post the event link and the event invitation so people can reserve it on your calendars. And then, of course, if people want to get in touch with you, Dr. Andree, how will they do that?
So you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, or you can find me on LinkedIn. And my it's at DrLeRoy MD.
Yeah. And then I'm here, and then I'll post it for those of you who might be listening on the podcast later on. I will post this also in the show notes, and I'll post it in the description as well. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for those who joined, and for those who are watching the replay. We look forward to your comments and what you got and your intentions. And thank you, Dr. Andree, for showing up and having this conversation. And I'm definitely looking forward to more.
Thank you, Maiysha. I'm so grateful.
All right. Till the next time.